Alrighty, so today is April 13th, and today we are going to be moving on to lesson 2. We're going to be working on activity 2.1 and activity 2.2. This is the video for 2.1. Your video for 2.2 will be coming shortly up. So today we're going to be talking about MP3s and DVDs. So last week we talked about strategically solving equations, and this week we're going to be talking about analyzing and solving linear equations. So we're going to look first at the getting started. This is actually going to be very important. You're going to want to make sure that you have all of this open and that you have it at least written down or that you can refer back to it. It's very important because we are actually going to be using all of this information right here to answer not only the getting started, but also to be able to answer the questions for all of activity 2.1. So basically what this is talking about is it says sometimes you are asked to determine the value of an unknown quantity using only information you have for a quantity. So you're given all of this information, and if we actually scroll down, you're going to see that we're looking to define a variable. And the variable that we're trying to define is a DVD. And we want to know how many DVDs that Dan has. Well, it just says that Dan has the fewest. So there's actually no number associated with him. There's no number. He has no number next to him. So we're just going to say that the number of DVDs that Dan has is D. Now, I know that can be confusing because Dan's name starts with a D, but when we talk about D, we're talking about the number of DVDs. So if you look at number 2, you're using your defined variable to write algebraic expressions to represent the number of DVDs each person has. So to do this, you're going to see that we have D for Dan. The statement up above said that Donna has 7 more than Dan. For Betty, it said Betty has twice, so that means it's 2 times the amount that Donna has. Jerry has 3 times, or three times more than Dan, so that's 3D. And then it says Kanisha that she has 6 fewer than Donna. So that means you take Donna's and you're going to subtract 6. And when you do that, you're left with these different expressions. Now, if you go down into activity 2.1, it says use the expressions you wrote in the previous activity to answer each question. So just like before, not every single question is going to be answered for you. We're going to go through a couple of them, or at least start them, so you kind of have an idea of what you need to do so you're able to solve them. So for number 1, it says, is it possible for Jerry and Kanisha to have an equal number of DVDs? Write and solve an algebraic expression or equation to represent why or why not. So we want to know if they can have an equal number. So literally what that means is we're going to set Jerry equal to Kanisha. And when we do that, we are literally saying Jerry, which was 3D, is equal to Kanisha, which is D plus 1. And now all you need to do is solve for D. So this is a very, very easy 2-step equation. I really hope this is something you guys can do. I'm not going to solve this one for you. I think you guys can manage that. We're going to go look down at number 2. Now, number 2 says Kim and Corinne share their own sets of DVDs. Now, this one I'm going to separate out with some different colors so we can kind of follow along. So it says Kim has 6 times as many as Dan has. And Corinne has twice as many as Jerry has. So using this, I'm going to say that the red goes with the yellow and that the blue goes with the green. Okay, just so you know who I'm talking about. So if we're talking about Kim, it says she has 6 times as many as Dan. So if Dan has D number of DVDs, so he has D, if we multiply that by 6, that means that Kim, I'm just going to write a little K for her, has 6D worth of DVDs. Simple enough. Now, if we're talking about Corinne, she has twice as many as Jerry. So that means we're literally taking Jerry's amount of 3D, and we're going to multiply that by 2. So that means Corinne also has 6D. So when you're looking at this, I'll be like, okay, so they both have 6D. What does that mean? Remember, the ultimate goal here is we want to get D by itself. So to do that, we can just divide D, or 6 on both sides. So now we're left with D equals D. So what does that mean? That means that there's an infinite solution, an infinite number of solutions. So you can determine the number of DVDs each girl has. So it doesn't actually matter. So no matter what you, so if they have 42 DVDs, they're going to end up having the same number regardless. And if they have 3 DVDs, if they have 1 DVD, whatever it might be, they're going to have the same one because there's an infinite number of solutions. So let's look down at number 3. Now number 3, you're going to be required to do some work. We kind of set it up for you, but I'm going to do a little extra step for you just to kind of get you started. So for number 3, you should see that we are talking about the original group of friends. So we're talking about Dan, Donna, Betty, Jerry, and Kenesha. So it says if the original group of friends has a total of 180 DVDs. So a total, what does total mean? You all should be able to answer this one. Total means that our equations is set equal to 182. And again, we kind of wrote that out there for you. So it's equal to 182. So then how many does each person have? Make sure and check your work. So what that literally means is you're going to add all of the friends together and set it equal to 182. So we did this for you. So you have D plus 7 plus 2D plus 14 plus 3D plus D plus 1. So literally you just need to simplify. And the best way I would say to do that is to combine your like terms. So you have a D here. Let's see if I can make this a little bit smaller. You have a D here. You have 3D, 2D, you have a D, and a D. Now, when you add all of those together, what do you end up getting? I got 8D. Sorry, 9D. I know how to do math, guys. Don't worry. Okay, it was 8D. I was just second guessing myself. So I got 8D. Now I need to combine the constants. So I have 7, I have 14, and I have 1. When I add those together, 7 plus 1 is 8, 14 plus 8 is 22, which then still equals 182. Now, again, the ultimate goal here is to solve for D. So I'm going to subtract by 22 on both sides. When I do that, I'm going to be left with 8D equals 160. If I divide both sides by 8, I'm going to end up with D equals 20. So remember, we said that Dan equals D. So that means that Dan owns 20 DVDs. Now, in order to find the other 4 friends, all you need to do is plug D into the original equation. So for D plus 7, plug in 20. For 2D plus 14, plug in 20. 3D, plug in 20. D plus 1, plug in 20. And that will give you your answer. And then number 4, you need to write and solve an algebraic equation to show why Donna's reasoning is incorrect. So this one is one that we want you to kind of take some time and look over yourself and see if you can explain why she was incorrect with her work.